Welcome back to another episode of Bravo Charlie's. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a wonderful summer meal all on your barbecue. Wait a minute. This isn't Miami. It's freaking cold out here. This was a stupid idea. Welcome to the second episode of Bravo Charlie's. Today it's winter here in Pittsburgh. We're going to make a perfect meal for cold weather outside, and that's chili. There's a lot of different recipes for chili. There's a lot of different likes and dislikes about chili. This happens to be my personal favorite. I've been eating this type of recipe for about 25 years. I like meat and vegetables. I don't like high spice. I don't like a lot of spice in chili. I don't like my chili super hot. That's why there's Tabasco sauce and pepper that you can put on the table if you have someone that likes that really hot chili. This is just going to be a very flavorful, lots of tomatoes, green peppers, onions, and by all means a lot of meat. I like a very hearty chili, something that's filling, and with a baked potato or something like that at dinner time, you can't go wrong. So let's get started with the ingredients and start talking about how we're going to put this chili together. Okay, so like I said with the chili, I like a hearty chili, so I have 3 pounds of 80/20 here. We're going to brown that up before we put that in the pot with everything else. I like 80/20, it provides the fat, it provides the flavor that you need, and it cooks up real nice in something like chili. 2 cans of tomato soup. 28-ounce cans, 2 of them. Diced tomatoes. Don't buy anything that's flavored with basil or anything that already has seasoning in it. Just buy plain. This has a little sea salt in it, but that's not a big deal. Just plain diced tomatoes works great. 2 big cans. 2 nice size, let's say a little bit bigger than a baseball, onions, sweet onions. 2 nice size green peppers. 2 cans of light red kidney beans. You can put any kind of bean in there that you like. I prefer the kidney beans. So 2 cans of those. We have 2 tablespoons of chili powder. 4 bay leaves that we'll put in while we're cooking this, and then you fish these out at the end and take them out. We have 4 teaspoons of kosher salt. Kosher salt has a thicker grain to it than regular table salt. I think it tastes better. And a half a teaspoon of direct from Hungary paprika. Hungary is known for their paprika, and a friend of mine brought this back for me after a vacation there. There we go, that's the ingredients, and I do have a little fresh cracked pepper for the flavoring at the end, and the ground meat, and a little bit of extra virgin olive oil for browning the ground meat. For browning this much ground meat, I'll keep the shot tight on this so you can see what's going on here. I have a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, maybe a little bit more in there, on medium-high heat. You want to get the olive oil nice and hot. Once you feel some heat coming out of there, you just want to dump this in. But I use a non-stick wok to do something like this because you have so much ground meat. Once you put it, if you put it in just a flat pan with something with low sides, it's easy for the ground meat to come out. So it's simpler if you just put it in something like this and a bamboo utensil to keep it all going. It stays nice and neat, and it browns up real nicely. So let's just dump this in here. You can probably hear it sizzling. Pot was nice and hot. So we're going to brown this up real quick. It'll take about 5 or 10 minutes to get it nice and brown. We'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like, and then we're going to drain off the fat, and then we're going to set this aside until we actually need it for the chili itself to go in the big pot and mix up all the ingredients. Okay, you can see the meat is coming along nicely. It's still browning up. We've been doing this for about 4 minutes now, so it'll take another 4 minutes or so. However, you want to season your food at every opportunity. So let's add a little fresh cracked pepper to the ground meat. And then let's add a little, maybe about a tablespoon of salt to it. And just a word of warning or a cooking tip, you never want to pour when you're pouring out the salt or any type of spice directly over what you're cooking, you always want to do it off to the side. For instance, if the cap would come off, if the box would get out of your hand, too much pours in, you're going to have a ruined dish. Okay, so the meat has been browned. We're just going to pour it into this colander. Let all that excess fat drain off. Just quickly. Okay, so let's talk about cutting up these vegetables. I like to have all the vegetables cut beforehand. That way you can just add them at one time. You're not trying to add something, cut something, add something. Just get it out of the way. Green peppers are relatively easy to cut up. You just take the tops off. Take the bottom off. You can save the bottom to chop that up and put in the chili. You got to strip these seeds out of it. So just quickly get the inside cleaned out. And then the easiest way to chop up a green pepper to get it nice and even, cut it in half and then cut it in strips. Cut one whole half in strips. And then once you have it in strips, lay it up like a stack of wood, or lay it together like a stack of wood, stack of lumber, and you'll be able to slice down through these. Now remember, when you're cooking, when you're cutting, don't put your fingers out. Put your knuckles, hold your vegetables like this, so if the blade would come down, your knuckles will protect you rather than your fingers being out. So just slice through these nice and evenly. So the quickest way to cut an onion, simplest way, cut it in half, top down, not this way. Cut it in half, top down. Lay that half in front of you. And then simply slice down through it, but leave the edge intact. I'll show you what I mean as soon as I'm finished with this. Leave the edge intact, so you basically have it sliced but still attached back here. Now you can slice down through this onion, and because the onion is made in many layers, you will have nice even pieces of onions chopped up. And then just chop up what's remaining. That's the simple part, because there's not much of it left. So just give that a quick chop. And then you have a nice evenly chopped piece of onion. Okay, we are back. We have a tablespoon of olive oil in the pan, already hot, medium high. I'm going to add the vegetables. And you can hear them start to simmer right away. We're going to add the vegetables and just cook those down. We're going to cook them down until they get a little bit soft, and then we're going to start adding everything else. So tomatoes, we'll splash, add these first and try and put them deep into the pot, so when you turn them over, you're not going to get tomato juice splashed all over the place. So add these in. Once you got the tomato cans added, here is the tomato soup. I just opened up those cans and put them in a 2-cup container. We'll add that. Now you're going to bring this all to a boil once we get all this stuff added. We're going to add the meat too, and once it starts to boil, we will check and see if we need to add any more liquid. I set aside a cup of water. It's about a cup and a half of water actually. We may need to add that to this mixture to keep it, you don't want it too thick, you want it to be, you know, a thick soup pretty much. But you'll see once we add the meat, this will start to get real thick. With the beans, I drained the liquid from one of the bean cans, put that one in, and then in the other one I left the liquid, put that can of beans in. So we have the tomatoes we added, we have the beans we've added the tomato soup, all of that is in here. The vegetables were already cut in one shot and cooked down now with the extra virgin olive oil. We can go ahead and add the rest of the salt. We're going to add the chili powder, the 2 tablespoons of chili powder. We're going to add the ½ teaspoon of paprika. And we're going to throw in the bay leaves. And when we're done cooking this, we'll just pull these out because they stay kind of hard. You don't want to eat them, but they are in there for flavoring. And now I'm just going to dump in the meat. Stir this all together, and you're going to bring this to a boil and let it simmer for a good 1.5 hours, 2 hours. I already scraped down the cans of the tomato soup and the tomatoes themselves, so there's no more liquid to bring in there. But this is too thick for chili. I like mine with a little bit more, a little thinner, with a little more soupy flavor. So let's just add, don't have to add it all at once. We'll just check it. I think I am going to add it all. That's about 1.5 cups of water on top of all the other ingredients that we added. So I'm not going to put a lid on this at first. I'm going to let it come to a boil. Then I am going to put a lid on it for about 1.5 hours. Come back, check the flavors, see how it tastes, and maybe let it boil for another 20 minutes if we have to add any more salt or pepper to it. Hi there, here we are with our final bowl of chili. It's completely cooked very well, very chunky as you can see. It's a very hearty chili. Like I said, it's not very spicy. If you want to add more, you can add some red hot sauce to it. You can add some black pepper to it. If you like this episode, please hit the thumbs up button below. That helps me out a lot. I have a lot of other good videos coming up. If you're interested, please hit the subscribe button. Help me grow this channel. Next week is potato soup, and stay tuned for what's next. Thanks for joining us.